Why, hello, folks. Today we're going to be broaching maybe a touchy subject. I don't know. There's been some speculation when it comes to the upcoming the Duviri paradox update, and it's like half a year from now. It's probably going to be around December or so. So we don't really know a whole lot about it yet, besides what's been shown off at Tenno with like a 20-minute long gameplay video. But based on that video, and based on some comments in an interview with Rebecca Ford, people have speculated a bit about the quest itself and what will be the theme of the quest and who some of these characters are. Reb made a comment about how, since if the Drifter is a version of us who was never saved from the void, then could there be other people, that other familiar faces that there could be other versions of in the void? And based on that, there's been some speculation. So I'm not the originator of this theory. I've seen other people talk about it as well, regarding Dominus Thrax, who's supposedly the antagonist of the Duviri this world, and the speculation has been that he could be Rell from Chains of Harrow, or rather not Rell, not the Rell we know, but a different version of Rell, a Rell that was never saved from the void and who was trapped in there just like the Drifter was. So this is pure speculation. I'm going to start by saying that right away. Pure speculation. It is not at all, determined or confirmed or anything like that it's Rell. No, it's pure speculation. So I might be super wrong about this. When Duviri comes out, it might not be Rell at all. And then this video is going to be moot and pointless and about nothing at all. So we're working with the assumption that it could be Rell, right? So it's a theory. It is a theory, not confirmed, pure speculation. Just want to get that out of the way immediately. So, there are some hints when it comes to this, sort of touching on what we already know about Rell's character. Obviously that he has autism, and that is confirmed at this point. I think Steve has in some interview before definitely confirmed that Rell is somewhere on the spectrum, and the impression I've gotten from people who have autism or are on the spectrum or whatever is that it's a positive thing to have some representation that comes across as respectful, if that's the right word to use, where they appreciate having a character who has autism, who isn't sort of flanderized or isn't just a weird sort of caricature. But at the same time, just acknowledges that people with autism have difficulties, and it's they struggle to fit in often, and they've I've gotten the impression that people feel that Rell is a pretty good representation, and it's important to have that. So there's been some trepidation. I've seen people with autism commenting on this on the subreddit for Warframe, for example, stating that they're a bit worried about this, that the idea that you take sort of these autistic characteristics, as it were, and turn them into sort of a villainous thing, right? Where, so a person with autism who is just left on by their own devices and get powers and stuff, they're gonna turn into this sort of crazy person trying to control the world or whatever. Based on the fact that that Chains of Harrow does treat the subject matter more seriously than that. I think that's going to be the case in the future as well, even if this turns out to be Rell, and a different version of Rell that does seem to be more along the lines of like just an antagonist at least. That I don't think it's going to be like a weird caricature. I don't think that's it. But still, if you look at the characteristics that are presented in this world, what we know about Dominus Thrax, we see a world where everyone wears masks. And that sort of touches on the whole thing with the, you know, facial expression cards in Chains of Harrow, where it's that's also a thing where it's like, oh, he has trouble reading people's facial expressions, and he has trouble understanding what facial expressions mean. So he creates a world where he doesn't have to look at people's facial expressions because that confuses him, stuff like that. We've seen like how he can get sensory overload, and if there's like too much sound, it's too much visual stimulus or whatever, that also stresses him out. So he creates a world that is devoid of color, and because like it fits, right? It sort of fits with this idea of autism, I guess. And like I'll state this immediately. Like, I do not have autism. I am not on the spectrum myself, so I'm trying very carefully here to not speak for autistic people. I'm trying not to be like patronizing or lecturing in my comments, stuff like that. I'm not an expert on the subject matter. I'm just saying that like it kind of fits with the idea of Rell, and if this is a version of Rell that got void powers, sure, like all the Tenno did, but this version of Rell was not saved from the void. This version of Rell was trapped in the void just like the Drifter was, and what would a sort of like space that he created for himself in the void look like? What would it be? What would work for him? What sort of environment could he function in? Right? There's also the thing about, you know, repetition and routine and having like a clear sort of like instructions for how to go about their day. And what does he do? He creates Groundhog Day. He creates a day that plays out exactly the same every day for all eternity. And like, so far so good, because like this is the flip side of it, where it's like having a protagonist, which Rell is in Chains of Harrow, having a protagonist with autism, and you treat the subject matter like seriously, made for a very interesting experience, gameplay-wise. And I think if you go the other way and having an antagonist with autism, but you still treat the subject matter with respect, I think that could be interesting. I think that could be a sort of like a fascinating thing to do from a gameplay perspective and from a narrative perspective. Like, telling that story could be interesting. But it is a fine line to walk to keep it respectful. I acknowledge that too. So the worst case scenario is it's like not a respectful rendition, and it's gonna like piss people off. I don't think so, but we'll see. But like if you see, you know, gameplay wise, where you go with that, where it's like, oh, it becomes some sort of goal to bring color back to the world, because that's how you fight the person with autism, because it stresses them out. See, if you take autism and you turn it into a boss fight, where you have to attack the autism weak points to defeat the autism boss, that's where it could like go very wrong. if you go that way, that could be a mess. But like, I don't know. And the whole thing about, you know, you're breaking the Groundhog Day, and suddenly you're not following the script anymore of this place you're in, and suddenly the day does not play out the way it's supposed to, and that sort of also stresses him out and makes him angry. And you know, like, what's next? What's next step? You know, getting people to take off their masks. And now he's forced to see their facial expressions, and that confuses him. No. Come on. I don't think it's gonna be that. But I'm worried. I'm worried it's gonna be that, and that could, because that's sort of like the worry people have, that it could sort of tarnish this space that they created with Chains of Harrow, where Warframe was something you could hold up as a sort of shining example of like how you treat the subject matter of autism in a video game in a respectful way. And if you then introduce something new into the game that doesn't treat the subject matter with the same amount of respect, then that could be something that sort of makes it so people with autism no longer want to recommend Warframe to other people, like stuff like that. Anywho, like, I am tossing out so much speculation here. I need to stress that again. It is not confirmed in any way that Dominus Thrax is Rell. That is a fan theory. It's based on speculation, it's based on one quote from Rebecca Ford in one interview, and it's based from sort of what we've seen from this world and how Dominus Thrax is. I mean, it appears in one scene that he has a woman who sings to him, and that also seems to calm him down. So again, another characteristic that's pulled from Rell, because that's a thing with him as well. He listens to music, or like the hum of this instrument to calm him down. So there are clearly some thematic elements here that seem reminiscent of Rell. It fits with the character of Rell. There's also some stuff that doesn't fit. There is the stuff to, like how the denizens of this world see you. They see the drifter, and they think you are their sire, you are their king. So they think you are like Dominus Thrax. So obviously a theory there is that Dominus Thrax is just another version of you. Just like the drifter is just another version of you. That could also be the case. And it's just not Rell at all. And this is a huge misdirect. So I have to stress that point. Not confirmed. Not confirmed at all that Rell is Dominus Thrax. And everything I've thrown out here as speculation for like how they're going to treat the subject matter, also pure speculation, might not at all be the direction they're going in. Hell, Dominus Thrax might not even turn out to be the antagonist of this. He might be he's going to be a character in Duviri, but it might not be as simple as referring to him as the antagonist of Duviri. He might play a different role entirely. He might not even take on the role as a villain when all is said and done with this story. Because it is going to be like the other open worlds, like it was with Fortuna and with Saya's Vigil. That you get a story that introduces you to the open world, and once you've played through the story, then you'll still have the open world, and you'll still have the daily stuff with the bounties and stuff like that. I assume it's going to work like that as well, except Duviri is going to be like sort of drifter-based and not Warframe-based. But I don't think they're going to stray too far away from that formula. So, anyway, I've been talking a lot, and like I said, I've been trying not to speak for people with autism, because I don't have autism, and I don't want to pretend to speak for people with autism. But I would love to hear input, like in this comment section. Like if you are a person, you know, with autism or somewhere on the spectrum, or you know someone who has it, or like you have friends who are on the spectrum and they play Warframe and they have their opinions on Chains of Harrow and stuff like that, like how do you instinctively feel about the idea of Duviri being a follow-up to Chains of Harrow and taking the story of Rell, the boy with autism in the Warframe universe, and taking that story in a new direction? Do you feel positive about that idea? Does it excite you? Do you look forward to it? Just because, you know, hey, Chains of Harrow was good, so this could be good as well. Or are you more leaning along the side of sort of being worried about the idea that they might take something that was good and maybe take it in a new direction that's gonna feel less good? I don't know. Please let me know. I have no idea if anyone from Digital Extremes watches my videos. You know, we're at 13,000 subscribers at the point of recording this. I don't know if that channel is big enough to be like a blip on the radar in Digital Extremes. I don't know. I don't know if anyone there knows who I am or watches my videos or whatnot or reads these comment sections. But maybe they do, right? Maybe they do. Who knows? So, you know, if that's the case and you feel like you could leave input that could give them direction that would be valuable to take the story in a direction that would be respectful, then please do. Why not? Why not leave a comment, throw out a voice, an idea out into the ether, and who knows who will pick that idea up and take it somewhere. Because, you know, in general, I think Warframes developers are very good at listening to the community, much better than most other game devs are. So, if you have a voice, I recommend you use it, and maybe you will be heard. But again, pure speculation. Duviri might have nothing to do with Rell whatsoever. In which case, we can just forget about this video 6 months from now and act like it never happened. But it's fun to start a discussion. It's fun to start a discussion and just think about different ways they can take this story in a game that we all love. So yeah, that's basically it. That's what I have to say about Duviri with what we know as of yet, which isn't a whole lot. There have been other people who have been covering the Tenno showcase and just giving their thoughts about it, but I haven't seen this like subject matter being broached by any other content creators. I haven't seen them really talk about this, so I figured that can be my addition. That can be my contribution to the discussions about Duviri moving forward. So that's the video, people. As always, thank you for listening to my weird little rants, and give it some thought. Give it a comment. See, give me your input. How do you feel about it, if it were to come to pass? And I will see you again tomorrow, as always, for something completely different.